The United States started to get quite worried. You see, China's tech industry was growing incredibly fast. They were making huge strides, especially in microchips. These chips are like the tiny brains in all our gadgets. They power our smartphones, our laptops, everything. Even your smart toaster probably has one these days. America, long a leader in chip technology, took notice. This rapid progress from China caused serious alarm. Washington began watching very closely indeed. It was like a new team suddenly acing the league. Then the hammer came down: sanctions. These weren't just small penalties, they were big. Around 2019, the US government effectively said, "Stop." They put heavy restrictions on some Chinese tech giants. Huawei, a massive name in phones and networks, was a prime target. Suddenly they couldn't easily buy advanced American parts. This was a major hurdle for their global operations. The aim was to slow down China's technological expansion. It was a clear message sent across the Pacific. Imagine you're trying to bake an amazing cake, but then someone takes away your best flour, and your special Belgian chocolate, gone too. That's what these sanctions felt like for Chinese tech firms. Key American suppliers like Qualcomm or Intel were restricted. They couldn't sell certain advanced components to these companies. This didn't just impact smartphones, mind you, it affected a whole range of future technologies. This was a very calculated and strategic move by the US. So what was the big idea behind this? The US wanted to protect its lead in the tech race. They saw China as a powerful competitor catching up fast, perhaps a little too fast for America's comfort. Semiconductors, these tiny chips, are incredibly important. They are crucial for economic strength, a big deal. And they are vital for national security too. The global tech playground suddenly had new, stricter rules, and these rules weren't initially in China's favor. Now, when someone tries to block your path, what do? China decided it wouldn't just sit back and take it. They chose to fight back, not with anger, but with ambition. And with a whole lot of money and brainpower. Faced with these tough US restrictions, China mobilized. They launched a massive national effort, a real push, the goal to build their very own chip industry. From the ground up, if that's what it took. This became a top priority for the entire nation. China started pouring truly vast sums of money into this. Billions and billions of yuan were invested. This money flowed into their domestic electronics sector. It was like funding a new space race, but for chips. A significant portion went into cutting-edge research, trying to unlock the secrets of advanced chip design. Funds also went into training a new wave of talent. Engineers and scientists were needed, and quickly. Crucially, money built local factories called foundries. This wasn't just about making any old chips, though. The core aim was achieving self-reliance in this critical area. China realized that depending on other nations was risky, especially when those nations might cut off supplies. So they began investing heavily in their own manufacturing, even if their first homemade chips weren't super advanced. Not like the 3-nanometer ones from Taiwan or South Korea. It was about learning to walk before they could sprint, a vital step towards technological independence. This enormous investment sent a very clear signal. China was essentially saying, if you won't sell to us, then fine, we'll just learn to make them ourselves. The US sanctions ironically acted as a powerful catalyst. Instead of crippling China's tech ambitions, they fueled them. It lit a fire under the nation's innovation engine. Developing a domestic chip industry became a matter of pride. It was also seen as essential for future economic security. This set the stage for surprising breakthroughs ahead. Let's talk about Huawei, a name you surely know. This company was directly in the line of fire. The US sanctions hit them incredibly hard. Huawei was a global leader, especially in 5G tech and phones. Many observers thought this could be a devastating blow, perhaps even the end of Huawei as a major player. But Huawei wasn't ready to throw in the towel. They decided to dig deep, to innovate, to survive. They looked for a way out of this tight spot, and then, something remarkable happened. A big surprise. Huawei managed to shock almost everyone, especially in Washington. They unveiled their very own advanced processor chip. It was called the Kirin 9000S, a nifty piece of tech. This chip was found inside their new Mate 60 Pro smartphone. The truly amazing part? It was made in China. Produced in factories run by SMIC, a Chinese company. This proved China could make sophisticated chips locally. Despite the embargoes, they found a way forward. Huawei wasn't the only Chinese company making big moves. Xiaomi, another tech giant from China, also stepped up. You probably know them for their popular smartphones, and their wide range of other smart electronic gadgets. Xiaomi saw what Huawei was achieving and got inspired. They started developing their own custom semiconductors too. Initially they focused on chips for specific functions, like enhancing their phone cameras, making them even better, or for smarter battery and power management in devices. Now, it's important to keep things in perspective here. These new Chinese-made chips like the Kirin 9000S weren't necessarily outperforming the world's absolute best. Not immediately anyway, compared to chips from Qualcomm or Apple, but that wasn't really the most important point. The crucial thing was that China was making them. This demonstrated a massive strategic shift, a new capability. They were reducing their reliance on foreign technology. It's like finally growing your own food successfully. China's strategy was much broader than just investing money. It involved a fundamental reorganization of its approach. They started to restructure their entire semiconductor industry. Think of it like a national team changing its whole game plan. A key element was the focus on developing national standards. This means creating their own rules for chip design and make. This helps to unify the domestic industry effectively. It allows different Chinese companies to collaborate better. Building on each other's successes becomes much easier. Another smart move was exploring alternative chip architectures. Most of the world's devices use designs like ARM or x86. These are largely developed and controlled by Western firms. China began to seriously invest in and adopt RISC-V. What's RISC-V? It's an open-source instruction set architecture. Think of it like open-source software but for chip blueprints. This means it's not tied to Western licenses or control. It offers Chinese designers much more freedom and flexibility. A clever pivot in their long-term technology strategy. Beijing's grand plan for chip independence had many parts. They established new, dedicated research institutes. These were tasked with pushing the limits of chip tech. They provided massive funding to local foundries like SMIC. This was to boost their manufacturing capacity and quality. Support also went to companies making chip-making machines. Complex equipment like etching machines are vital. And, some say controversially, they encouraged reverse engineering. Learning by studying others' tech, then innovating further. So, what does all this mean for the rest of us? Well, the United States is certainly watching very carefully. There's a genuine concern about losing its tech leadership. Some reports suggest China might soon be self-sufficient, potentially producing its own high-end chips within a decade. If this happens, it could significantly alter global tech power. The US embargo, meant to hinder China, had an unexpected effect. It seems to have accidentally ignited a technological revolution, pushing China towards self-reliance much faster than predicted.